Hello, everybody. Welcome along. We've got another wonderful dev interview. This time, one that we've been waiting to do for quite a while. And I know some of you have been asking, but we've got the wonderful Tees with us now, who is our senior programmer over at ROCKFISH Games. Hello, Tees. Welcome along. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Gary. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a while, but I promised to do it, so I need to do it today.
Indeed. Yeah, we got you on eventually. It's just lining all these up just takes a little bit of time, but thank you very much for taking time out of your day to do this for us. Now, we always dive in with the most simple question for everybody to answer. Firstly, is what is your role at ROCKFISH Games? As we've mentioned, it's a senior programmer, and what does that entail?
Yeah, it can be very different what a senior programmer does at ROCKFISH, of course. But when I started 7 years ago in 2018, the foundation for EVERSPACE 2 was made, and we needed more, or they at this point needed more manpower, and it was you could see that you need a lot of UI for that game, all the item management that was done later. And so at that time, they asked me if I could start with helping with the item management. And then I picked that part up, and that's mostly UI, UI and UX work, the item management and inventory management screens, and never left that small section or department. I wasn't or I'm not the only one doing UI for EVERSPACE, by the way, because there is the HUD that's I did nothing of the HUD, no implementation. And other things of the UI as well. So, but the inventory management, or the in-game, most of the in-game screens, that's what I implemented. We have or we had an UI and UX artist back in the day designing the screens after the request of game design, and I'm the guy who's actually implementing them into the engine so that you can use use the screens. That's my role.
Cool. That's that's really interesting. I know obviously people think that programmers just do kind of one thing, but obviously you went in originally planning to do something different, then you switched over to the UX UI implementation because it was a requirement. So speaking of kind of how you switched and what you've done kind of previously, what's your background that led you into the gaming industry? What was it that pushed you in that direction?
Yeah. First of all, I like to mention I was doing a lot of UI before, so it was kind of obvious that I could or should do it for EVERSPACE 2, and I also like to do it. So don't get me wrong, I wasn't pushed like someone has to do the job nobody wants to do. It wasn't that way. I chose it, and there was also need for it, so or demand. So that was a good fit, and I knew in advance before I came back. So in terms of background, I was I started or I studied at a University of Applied Sciences near Hamburg, and that was back in the day, like 20 years ago. There was a new course called Media Information Science. There was not this dry information science alone, but you had some design aspects and business and cutting some movies, and they marketed right. So I was hooked, and I applied there, and was able to start studying there, and realized that, or I realized before at school even, that I'm interested not just playing games, but to get to know how they are made, and so that's why I picked up the study there, and then part of this study is that you find a company where you can write your diploma thesis, and you do an internship. That was pretty common. It was not mandatory. You could do it like for theoretical topic maybe internally at the school, but it was it was very common to do that. So I looked around, where could I do that? There were, at that point in time, there were not many gaming companies in or near Hamburg. That changed a bit over the years after that, but at that time that was pretty rare. So there was a bulletin board where every like alumni or guy from the school that was listed, and there was also HCK or Hans Christian, the lead game designer of EVERSPACE and Galaxy on Fire back in the day from the Fish Labs era, and he did his internship for and his diploma thesis for a company called Schade. That was the company of Michael Schade and Christian Lohr. That's why it's called Schade Lohr. And so I applied there because he did his thesis was about implementing or creating a 3D mobile game for Java mobile phones. So it's a pre-smartphone era, pre-iPhone and everything. So it's a long time ago. But that's how I. That was the first step, and then during my internship there, the Fish Labs was founded, and some of our friends are familiar with Fish Labs and the history. And Michael mentioned it a couple of times, of course, and Galaxy on Fire. That was the main title there, and I worked for that company until the very end, so to speak, even longer. We were always in talks, and I followed the work of the guys closely, and was very I was very glad that it worked out. The Kickstarter campaign for EVERSPACE 1, and we had a beer here and there and chat with Michael, and then in 2018 it was time to rejoin, so to speak, and start a new adventure with the development of EVERSPACE 2.
Cool. I mean, we're very glad that you did make that decision and come back to the team, because I know I've sometimes prodded and poked you for certain suggestions about the UI, the UX through the development of EVERSPACE 2, and you're very receptive to all that kind of ideas and whether you can make it work or not. So we're very lucky.
Thank you. I always try. To be. But...
Yeah, we do try, and I think it's something that we do like to point out to the community, that we do get the feedback, we do get the ideas. If it's possible, then we'll try to implement something like that, or these guys do anyway. These are the magicians that make the magic happen for everything. But now moving on to one of the questions that I always think is sometimes difficult to answer, but in your role as a senior program, what has been, probably in EVERSPACE 2 terms, what has been the most challenging aspect that you've come across?
It depends a little bit. Just specifically the role as a senior programmer or UI in terms of EVERSPACE 2, technically. It was a huge challenge to have this seamless transition between gamepad and keyboard, and using one AI for multiple platforms. So you have the console UI, you're like 3-4 meters away from the TV sizes vary, and then our core audience is PC, probably. We are hooked to a monitor. Just 30 centimeters away, and then using a mouse, and you can have like tooltips and overlays and everything, and have the whole keyboard for shortcuts, and everything is just a fingertip away. And this is a very different experience. And if you don't know what kind of game you make at the beginning, where the team was trying to find the right, the core loop and the right balance of like management and checking item stats, but first and foremost, it's an action game. It's a shooter game, an action game, story-based game, and but also this deep experience of like checking the loadout, and doing making all these builds, like John and you demonstrated you can get really deep into this itemization game, and the UI needs to support that, and that's an incredible difficult challenge, because game design also is continuously changing the rules, and just an example, we had the crafting inventory, it was at the beginning we had all the items were just in one inventory, and then the obvious reason or obvious solution is just make it bigger, you just make it bigger and then you start to scroll. What may work on a with a mouse gets pretty tiresome on gamepad or pretty quickly, and then you don't want to scroll 20 rows with a gamepad and look through all the items. So there's a sweet spot, and we try to find it all the time, and then need to readjust. And and obviously the mouse players, they don't care about the gamepad. They just say integrate another hotkey. I have like 200 of them, and I say, but there's the gamepad. Nobody plays the game with gamepad. Just put it in there, and you can do that's the easy way. Just another, or maybe an exception or an addition. Just implementing a feature just for keyboard. That's a way, and we did that at some point. But that people are, don't want to say that the console players get or the PC players get a superior version of the game. You wanna provide the same experience and the same convenience features as long as you can. And that's what I said during the whole development. I said, okay, let's find a solution. Let's try at least to find a solution for both platforms, for both audiences, and only if there's just no other way. Just put this extra feature on top, and then it's fine. But that was the most challenging part of the AS2 UI development.
I can imagine, and as you said, when keyboards have a plethora of keys and so many modifiers, when you try to condense that down to a controller which doesn't have many modifiers it can use, it's so difficult.
Exactly, and you can even there are many other solutions. For example, like having context menus, or holding a button and then there's like another overlay menu or radial menu maybe, and then you're using the stick for the HUD and everywhere. But it's very indirect, and even before I was joining the team, Hans Christian he set up the base inventory stuff and everything, and also the underlying data structure, etc. So he was always managing that one, by the way. But he said that his vision for it was that like you don't have to go through 10 menus to move an item. It should be instant, one action. And if you follow that way, without many pop-ups and modal screens and context menus, this indirection, what a right click with a mouse that could work, but on gamepad it wouldn't feel right, in an action game. We wanted that, and then you're just left with the basic buttons that the usual controller has, and then maybe a hold, and some or one or two modifiers here and there. But that's it. It's
just to move on, and kind of a flip side to that previous question. Obviously that was a difficult challenge to try and overcome, and I think we did it very well. But what would you consider is the most rewarding aspect of your role?
It's obviously we are lucky living in that age. Not always, but you can follow people playing the game on YouTube, right? So like 20 years ago, we're shipping a game. Maybe there were some reviews in magazines, but the feedback was more or less not there, or you couldn't. Maybe someone writing a letter or something. But now you can you have some streamers, and or we have our Discord server and everything, and feedback from the team, comments on YouTube and everything. And when someone is mentioning a small feature, maybe like a convenience feature, now they got another filter to filter or sort set items first, or something like that. Or there's a star icon for favorites. That's what I wished for, or if only I could like manage or moving items between ships now. You know, this is something that we do not promote like at every corner, because it's not like it's just a convenience feature. UI is always like second place. The game should be the action and everything, but you need UI. And if someone's like praising that or realizing that's in the game even, and then, oh, that's cool, or I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
That's very rewarding. Yes.
Yeah. No, I had
get to know about it.
I had to chuckle a little bit there, because I know we've had the discussions about the favorites and the transfer of items between ships and everything over time. And like I say, that's my role. If I get the feedback in, I do send it across to the guys, and there'll be discussions whether I'm involved with it or not, whether it's something that's feasible or you know, how much time could be spent on it. And I know Tease is a bit of a wizard, because sometimes like, oh yeah, I've done that, and you're like, whoa, that was quick, which is really cool. So always with our projects, if you have feedback, then please do send it in to us, because you know, we want to hear it, and we're very
always
receptive.
Glad to hear it. Yes, of course,
absolutely,
of course.
Right.
And that's
I've got a question that's coming in from the community, and this one's from one of our long-term members called Kizor, and it kind of ties in with the previous questions, but I want to ask you, from a programming perspective, what were the most frustrating or problematic elements to overcome over the course of EVERSPACE 2, and what gives you the most satisfaction or sense of accomplishment once you've implemented it?
Yeah, frustrating maybe. It's also something maybe technical. Was that I mentioned it earlier when I talked about like two interfaces or two input methods, you know, the gamepad and the mouse, and it was also my first Unreal project that I did. So, but when I talked to the guys that did the EVERSPACE 1, and they also they already prime me, okay, this could be a problem, this is very nerve-wracking sometimes, and it's called like focus handling. That means that just one element has the focus, or is the highlighted element you're navigating from to other elements in the UI. And let me put it this way, it's easy to mess up in Unreal, or it was at least back in the day. And if you do it on console, you can't control the game anymore, so you need to restart. So it's a big deal. Not so much on PC, because you have the mouse, you hover over a different element, you don't really realize it, or at least not in any case. And that's why it's sometimes hidden when you implement something, and then just someone is bugging you like weeks later. You know what? I used to navigate with my keyboard from this item, and now I can't see anything and it doesn't work. And then you realize, oh, it's this focus problem, this effing focus problem again. So you need to go in there and fix it. And from time to time you're getting smarter, you know, you're gaining more experience, and you restructure it and try to find synergies for screens and everything, and rules. And you know, at the end of the day, you're a programmer, you need to set up it this way. But of course, every navigation that's like unnecessary, you need to avoid that. You know, so you need to make exceptions from the rule to make it work as people expect it. So, and the mouse user is expecting a different highlighting than a gamepad user, and every navigation step for a gamepad user is one too much. So if you try to manually optimize it, you need to build in workarounds there. And with every feature, with every change during like early access, you mess it up. It got messed up sometimes by other people, or introducing new screens, and then you need to do it again. It's like a constant fixing of this whole chain. And that was the most frustrating thing. And the second part was like problematic. And I'd say that was also a huge challenge to have this inventory management, because the ongoing demand of features, you know, that you need to implement. For example, you know, you have a ship and it has a loadout or equipment and weapons and everything, so good, so fine. But then there are many attributes, or that are totally random, like cargo bonus slot, for example.
Yeah.
And then you buy a cargo unit, it has like an extra bonus, and it wouldn't fit. But now that you swap it for a unit that's just one slot bigger,
Yep.
it should fit. And then you need to recalculate the sizes of the units and everything. And it was it was a technical challenge, but also to keep track of all the wishes or features that came into the game. And sometimes you need to restructure or rewrite a whole part of the game because this one feature that game design wanted to have, or this one attribute wouldn't work. That was pretty challenging. Yes.
I can imagine. Like I say, I think you guys all across the team that create music, sound, visuals, UI, design, whatever, are just absolute wizards to me. And when you kind of peel back the curtain of difficulty that is actually there, because from a layman, from a normal gamer's kind of viewpoint, it just looks easy. But I think because you guys do the hard work and make it look like it's an easy thing, but obviously there's many layers of difficulty to go through.
Yeah, I'm amazed as well, because I have nothing to do with all the effects that are going on in game, and all the weapon and perks and states, passive or active, that the player could have, and the enemies, and everything is working. And our most dedicated fans are like doing these runs, rift runs, and using all these side effects and dependencies of all these attributes of the items, and it's mind-boggling. I don't understand it as well, how it could even work, and exactly. Once in a while there's a bug, okay, but I wouldn't even realize it. But it's crazy.
It very is. It is.
I have a lot of respect of all the other team members, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to kind of what you said earlier, previously you obviously worked for Michael and Christian and Fish Labs, etc. What games did you actually work on, maybe extraneous to Galaxy on Fire, etc.?
Yeah. I to make that clear, I wasn't really working on Galaxy on Fire. I did a ship design. Okay. Basically, that was funny. We had Hans Christian back in the day. He decided that everyone should do a ship design. It was a nice idea. And our designers back in the day, they as 3D artists, they set up like a module. You could like build from some modules, like exhaust and nose and wings, and build your ship in 3D Studio Max, and it was fine. Everyone contributed to the game with his own ship. That was fine, but and I did some play testing, of course, because Hans Christian was sitting next to me. But back in the day, there was just one programmer per game. Really? One developer. You were like the developer was like the lead programmer and the lead designer. And that's what made me the lead programmer and designer of Rally Master Pro. There was a rally game, like a mobile version, or maybe spiritual or inspired version of like this Colin McRae or later games like from Codemasters. I like to play that, and Michael's already a big fan of cars and stuff, and ever since. And someone came up with the idea. I don't know who it was exactly, but was sure we wanted to make a rally game, and we had even made a rally game before, a smaller one. But then, we wanted to do a little bit bigger one, and I was the one responsible for that. And that was, it got some fairly good reviews. I think the original version was released on Java 2008.
Okay.
And we ported it later to iPhone, maybe one or 1.5 years later. But the reception of the Java version was pretty good. Cool, maybe also due to the graphics, because it was pretty rare to have 3D graphics, that smooth on Java devices. Real 3D, not just fake, like there's a plane, behind it, and that was cool, and that was really fun working on it. And we tweaked our physics, car physics engine. I didn't write it myself, but I just together with our lead engineer back in the day, tweaked it a little bit, so it was more elaborate than the ones we used for the other racing games we did there. And that was fun. That was the best thing. And then I also did a lot of, like, we had this like to also finance all our other games, like Galaxy on Fire, you know, our own titles. We need do some work for hire jobs, and that was we did some Volkswagen games and racing games. And since I did the last, you know, almost our last racing game with Rally Master Pro, I was the one who was picked. It was just a second decision, but it was also fun. There was very short development cycles, and I never stopped to help support our own titles.
It's funny because I looked up the rally game actually, and the first thing I thought was, that does look like Colin McRae Rally back in the day. So you can see the inspiration. I was very impressed with it, to be fair, when I saw it. And that's a nice, cool background. And if anybody in the stream or does watch this VOD back later, and then I remember that game. Well, now you know it was Tease that was the lead programmer on that one. So you got him to thank if you spent many hours playing that game, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I didn't program the engine, but there was a site. It just got a handful of reviews, but there was a big European outlet magazine or online site that called Air Gamer back in the day, and they also tested like Nintendo DS games and PSP, and I think they were just, and then Rally Master Pro received a 10. It was even one score higher than Galaxy on Fire too, and it was a 10, and there was like Tetris, Zelda, and I don't know, one other game who received a 10, and I was pretty proud. But they maybe later on they after years they like, I don't know, they went through all the 10s and wrote an article. And then I said, maybe we're a little bit blinded by the graphics back in the day. So it was not that revolutionary from a game design standpoint, probably, but the team liked it as well. I loved it, and it was also commercially fairly successful.
Excellent. No, that's good. I think you take the wins where you can. So we'll just say it was always a 10 out of 10 game. We won't worry about the review that they did later.
Yeah, of course, exactly. I stick to the 10.
Right. I'm going to switch over to another community question kind of here. And it's dealing with kind of bugs again. And this one's from Maligos over on our Discord. He's just wondered, is there any bugs that the devs kept and turned into a feature within the game? I know sometimes, I know we've mentioned about the glowing effect that we've had around the ships that were then turned into a kind of part of the supporter pack. But can you think of anything else that we had similar to that?
Not really a classical situation of a bug that turned into a feature. There were some situations during my whole career, but in terms of EVERSPACE 2, I'm pretty sure the guys had like many, you know, especially when you're doing like maybe AI, NPC behaviors and trying weapons, you know, that you may have heard over the course of the other interviews, or who knows. But no, I just but I asked myself, and what came into mind was just one situation where I also mentioned that earlier. I think that the cargo space and the prototype version or the Kickstarter version was pretty sparse, and then you need to find a way to get rid of all the cargo, you know, reduce it or make the cargo size bigger or something like that. And Hans Christian, he implemented at the very start, there was an inventory, a small debug inventory called eject, and you could like kick out items, you know, to get rid of them and make space in the cargo. And it wasn't active. It wasn't shown. I think it never went live. I think it was that way. And then I stumbled upon, while cleaning up the code, I saw the code of this inventory. I said, well, it's implemented like moving something here to the screen. But how about like just putting it on the base, your home base, or sending it to the home base.
Yeah.
And now we have the feature sent to home base, but then I wasn't sure. I wasn't working too much with the code at that point, and I just had a quick, what you do, you just try it out and quick test, and looked feasible. And then I asked Hans Christian, how about just this sending to home base feature, and we talked about law and everything, and I said, yeah, it's more or less it is done. I don't see the problem or drawbacks or the negative side of it. And then and he said, you know what, I thought about that. How about doing a perk? We need perks for Hive. Let's call it the autonomous cargo perk.
Yeah.
And then that's how a feature was created. That was it was a necessity to get rid of it, and not exactly a bug, but it was a leftover. A debug leftover in the game code, and this like making an advantage of something that's already there, how you can reuse stuff, basically that's maybe similar to that.
That's really, really cool to
give you at least something,
to see how it changes. It's almost like we just recycled something into something of a feature, which is really, really cool. So a wonderful insight. Thanks for that. That's really, really cool. Another community question that we're going to go on with, and this one's from Percival over on our Discord as well. Were semi-persistent debris objects with or without physics akin to Everspace 1's frigate remains ever tested within Everspace 2?
I think it was tested. I'm not sure what was the reason why we did not fully implement it for all the big ships. But I'm pretty sure that we did that, or the guys implemented it for Wrath of the Ancients, the Ocker corvette, or Ocker frigate. It was the Ocker frigate. That they implemented it for that ship. But it might be some feature that due to time constraints, as always, something has the priority and needs to be done, and that's probably why we didn't do it.
Another question, I don't know how you can answer this one, because I know you've not necessarily been involved in it, but it's a question from Crimson Came, again from Discord. Everspace 2 has no multiplayer because it was too challenging to introduce. As a senior programmer, could you go into detail what these challenges are, if you can?
As you said, I never worked on a did some light multiplayer stuff over the years, but not for this like a real-time, fast real-time action game doing multiplayer. And these days it's using tools like Unreal and with more elaborate, it maybe sounds easy, but what everyone was saying when you talk to people that did multiplayer before, custom engine or even Unreal, to really ship it, not just doing some prototypes, but to have a game of that complexity, you would need to structure it completely different. The whole management of the data, if there's a second player or even more, the technical the challenges that you face are much bigger, and a game that's done basically, you would have to would need to be sense financially to like rewrite the game just to integrate co-op or a multiplayer or something. Not talking about the design questions that need to be answered, what is a second player or 5 more players, what they are doing, what happens if you play the story and all the systems that you created that like single player only, you need to read or touch them, rewrite them, and everything. And that I think that was just too much for the game, for EVERSPACE 2. And
I think it's kind of
that's what I can say about it.
I think it's something that we've talked about with the community, because we've had many requests over the years about, oh, this would be great with co-op or multiplayer. It was never a case of,
I love co-op.
Oh yeah, a lot of players, a lot of team members do. It's just literally the case of implementing it after we've designed as a single player was never going to be financially doable, because as T said there, it's a case of we have to rewrite so much code, so many aspects from the design, the technological side of it as well, just trying to implement it. It's just been way too much. But it would have been nice to have, but financially and time wise, it just never fitted. But
of course, and just to add one thing is that it's natural that people have these demands or wish that something like that could happen, because they see it every time in other projects, But the situation is it's just totally different for every project.
Another question from the community, I think it's the last one we've got, and then a couple of more kind of normal questions, but this one's from Kizor again. He's just wondering, are there any kind of bloopers or hilarious bugs that didn't make it to early access that we were kind of able to share at all? He's kind of references Jackie Chan movie credits reel at the end. We've all seen them.
I know.
I don't know if you can think of any.
Yeah. Again, regarding EVERSPACE 2, UI-related stuff, not really, I think, because the worst thing that could happen is just you link the wrong asset, and then instead of a tooltip, there's just a menu background, that you move around with, or something like that. But nobody will see it because you immediately fix it, and it's obvious then. So nothing in that regard. But in terms of the whole game, I have to mention the dancing capital ships once in a while. So we had a lot of fun, and people, or when we have had our internal play tests, there were usually a video of was it a Ravager or one of these bigger ships. Like doing just some flips and saltos and like a prima ballerina.
Yeah, exactly.
As X would put it, and then it was hilarious to that point where we thought that it might happen a little bit too often. I hope it's fixed in the final bit. I'm not sure. It may. There may be possibilities that it could still happen. I hope not, but that's game dev, and if it's not like a cyberpunk first day situation where everything is just going nuts, and sideways, and then I think it's something to laugh about.
Cool.
But that was one of these moments. It's reoccurring.
I think they are kind of hilarious at the same time. It's like, that shouldn't happen, but when you see it happen, you think, wow, that's impressive, and literally just spiral. And we've had some great screenshots from those kind of elements as well. So the community have sent some brilliant ones in, and some very artistic ones as well, which we're always thankful of as well. Love it.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, we've kind of covered your role and what you kind of focus on. But overall, in your time that you spent working at Rockfish, what can you pin down anything that you think is the best thing about working here? I ask this to everybody, so it's it's nice to get everybody's viewpoint.
So you need to ask that. You need to ask it, and that's why that I need to answer. It's the team, because I like everyone, even though I hate them. No, I don't. Of course not. No, but it really is the team. And like 5 years ago, I did a talk or Michael asked me. He was busy and do a talk like an alumni talk for the university I studied. I mentioned earlier, and I prepared some slides and I find that analogy that I still think is quite fitting, that bigger companies or bigger gaming. Let's stick to gaming. I have no idea about other companies who worked there, but or in other industries. And it's the analogy of a rock band and an orchestra. And like bigger companies, when the guys made EVERSPACE 1, and I was still working for Fish Labs, or Deep Silver Fish Labs. They were bought by other companies, and there was like a parent company, or Deep Silver was a publisher, like a subdivision of the parent company, Koch Media. And you get to know all these layers, that you can have in companies, that companies need to have to function at a certain size. That's normal, but smaller companies have the advantage of like shifting priorities, roadmaps, like being more agile, and getting the best out of that. And most of the time when I worked at Fish Labs with the guys, we had there as well, is the feeling that your voice is heard, that you have influence to the final product, and then that you can contribute, with your passion, with your skills to the game, and really bring a feature or part of the game to life. And that's really great. I probably couldn't work without it. I don't know if I ever will try it, but as long as it works, and that's really great. And that's also part why the atmosphere is like it is. The home office part after the pandemic, it changed a little bit, of course, but it's still there. We're still meeting in the office and returning to a more normal form, but we have all the other advantages. But a second thing that comes to mind is, and you need to mention it, is that Michael is extremely open about all call it roadmap, or the future steps the company will take. I think Lee already talked about it maybe when in his interview a couple of weeks ago, that you need to make a roadmap. You need to think about what's in 3 years, 5 years from now, maybe, if you're the CEO of a company. But it's not usual that you share it with like everyone in the company, even though you're maybe just a programmer or just an artist, doing your like focused stuff. But he's doing that, and we have get-togethers in the office, and he's like providing the plan and what he thinks should make sense, and everyone can say his opinion or can disagree. And he will try to adapt if there's like too many people complaining or raising concerns or something like that. And he's not like, like, okay, what should I do? It's the opposite. But he's like really deriving conclusions from the feedback. What a good CA should do, so that that's not ignored, and that nobody can say, I knew this would happen, that's bad, but I couldn't speak up, or I wasn't heard. And it's also a very good feeling if you have the feeling that that's it's valued, that your feedback is valued, and that you were heard. So if you think you can make a change if something goes sideways, and that it works. Yes.
Cool.
That's Rockfish.
Yeah, exactly. And I
the
think
Rockfish
everybody
way of doing it, at least. I guess.
But top to bottom, starting with Michael and Christian, all the way down to the team, everybody's very receptive to ideas and comments. And I get comments from people like Tees who'll say something about the community, or streams, etc. And I'm very receptive to hearing what he's got to say, because I know Tees does like to watch the streams when he can, either on the VODs. And if I say anything wrong, he will tell me, which is good, because I like to get things right. So, but yeah, I think it's all good.
Just wanted to mention, since you said I like to watch the streams. As of now, I won't be most likely I won't be able to make it to the stream that this interview is shown. My apologies. I would have really like to join you, but but just I mentioned it here that
No, it's cool. No.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. But yeah, if you do have any questions for Tease, if he's not joining us, well, we're obviously recording this interview, and when we show it on live, if you got any follow-up questions, then do send them my way. Hit me up on the Discord or send me a DM, whatever, and I'll pass them along to Tease, and he'll try and answer whatever he can if you do have any follow-up questions.
Of course.
Now, a couple more questions just to finish things off, and it is always what I find the really interesting ones, because we've got you as a dev, the job that you do and everything, but we're all gamers. I think everybody on the team plays games in some shape or form, and we're all very, very different. But Tease, I've got to ask you, what games do you enjoy playing? We all want to know.
I don't play games. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
I love it.
Maybe it's just maybe Christian. He's the only one who's like, or stop playing games because of other duties.
Yes,
here and there. But I even though I have a couple of kids, I try to game as much as I can or with them. And I like Nintendo games. I grew up with a Game Boy. I'm 80s kid, so to speak, and I had the Game Boy and Super Mario or any platformer. The Zelda series, Metroid, the big Nintendo IPs, I really like them. The newer installments, Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, or the game I finished recently was Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Okay.
Some of you may have heard, it's like a Nintendo exclusive, of course, not the PC audience game, but it's not just that. I also like story-based or RPG games, or be it Horizon, God of War, The Last of Us, Resident Evil, probably one of my most favorite games, Resident Evil 4, or the whole series, but basically the whole IP. Played a lot of these Resident Evil games, and puzzle games in general. I like puzzles. I like our puzzles. Shout out to Tony and Marv. I be an outlier there, maybe. I don't know. But I really liked it. I completed the game and put like 150 hours on PlayStation 5 and played to all our content. And I like the puzzles, and that's why like games like The Witness or Portal or Talos Principle. These games, 3D puzzle games. I like them a lot.
Cool.
That's my these are my main genres, but
It's in terms of kind of any multiplayer games, is there anything that you like in that genre?
Yeah, one of my best friends, he's like a FIFA nerd. At one point in time, he stopped playing everything else and just playing FIFA. And he was like like a guy running from door to door with his PlayStation back in the day. Let's have a co-op session. Let's have a co-op session. And I was hooked, and we played. Nowadays, not that much, but there are other reasons. But played a lot of FIFA co-op matches, I have to say. And Overcooked, also great co-op, couch co-op games in general. If there's a great couch co-op game, then I'm in. It Takes Two. Currently just started Split Fiction. With Hans Christian, also great.
Cool.
I like these games, yes.
Yeah. Now I'm going to kind of mention one of the notes that I always kind of write up, and Teaser's put some notes in here. And there's one part of this question that I'm really intrigued about. When you were at Fish Labs, you used to play a real tournament in your lunch breaks. I love that.
And our lunch breaks. Yeah, legendary lunch breaks at Fish Labs HQ. That was the name of the map. Because even back in the day when we had our own engine, our custom engine, and nothing to do with console games or Unreal or something, we played Unreal Tournament, the 2004 version, during lunch breaks. I loved Unreal Tournament from the first installment, and played it with friends at school and in the 90s. And then there was the newer one, and we realized everyone likes to have a great death match or capture the flag match, and we started playing it. I don't know who came up with it. Maybe it was me, and there was also Quake 3 around, Quake 3 Arena. But somehow, for most part, we did this domination mode or capture the flag. And we had our 4 or 5 favorite maps. And then there was one day, and I wasn't in the office. I think I was sick. And Mike and Christian, there was a, I don't know, convention or something. They weren't in the office, and I don't know. And there was at that part there was nothing to do, and someone started a map in his spare time and brought it up to the office, and it was like a miniature version of our actual office we were sitting. And turns out it was a great map to play this domination. So we put these 2 domination points in, and then our graphic artists just like nowadays we would say photogrammetry, but it was just making photos of the whole shelf, and put it in, but it looked fairly nice, I have to say. And it turns out it was fun. It was as fun as maybe we were biased, because the fact that you're playing in the same office you're right sitting was crazy. But it was like the player character model was, I think, was a miniature version, because the desk was like 3 or 4 times higher, so you needed to jump pad to get off the desk, like a gremlin. If these guys know that size of a gremlin, so everything looked a little bit oversized. But it was great. And we had a lot of fun back in the day. Yes.
I can imagine running around your own office. I think we're going to have to try and create a level for the office of ROCKFISH Games now. That'd be really, really cool. To be running around in there.
We had the idea, but never found the time to do it.
Excellent. Now, our final question, still on games, and this one's a bit of a toughie, but I need to ask you, if you could have worked on one game yourself that's out there, that's ever been released, what would it have been?
As I said, I'm kind of a Nintendo fanboy, and maybe obvious that I could randomly pick any Super Mario or a Zelda game, maybe Super Mario World or A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo, because they back in the day they blew my mind. It was so the 16-bit graphics together with the gameplay. It was I want to have it, I want to play it. Feeling was never that big again, but. Over time, when you read some postmortems or dev stories about titles and reflect, I have to say that Resident Evil 4, I already mentioned that I liked it, is one of my most favorite games. When that came out on GameCube, it was like the best looking game. I think Half-Life was a little bit later, or at least was also groundbreaking, but I didn't play it at that point. But it was critically acclaimed. It was got great reviews, and it was from another world. And I read this interview, and people said that it was an exception. It should have never been released, because the development time was fairly short. It was just not even 2 years, I think. For today's standards, it's insane, because they had the formula, fixed camera angles from Resident Evil 1 to 3, and then they switched the whole gameplay, a new engine, everything that you try to avoid when you plan to make a successor in a short amount of time, that you change everything, the graphics, the gameplay, and it was a triumph, until today. Even this camera perspective over the shoulder was used for years, prominently in Gears of War and games like that. But so it must be, when these things, to make these things, I'm pretty sure that you need to have a strong team atmosphere of people that really like to work together, and they have the skills to work together. So not sure if I would have been. It's like theoretical, be the one to fit with my skills. Not sure, but of course, inventory management. It was there, to fit your green herbs and everything.
Yes,
they had it. So even check on this that regard. No, that was one game, and I don't know what was the The other one, maybe Portal, because when Portal came out, it's more like the indie side, because Resident Evil was like a AAA smaller team, but back in the day, AAA development project. But Portal, when that came out, that was mind blowing. And then I heard it was just was a small team, and then I think Valve they hired the Portal team, and then later on they staffed up to do the second part. But the first one, it was crazy to think that nobody can, you had like even 2009, so it must be like 20 years of 3D shooters since Doom, or at least 15 years since Quake, and nobody thought about like a genius idea to to mix things up in this first person shooter. It isn't a shooter, but in this genre, and to have this ingenious 3D puzzling game, and to play it, it was incredible. So it must have felt really nice to work on that game, and trying to come up with new ideas, and they cranked it up in the second part. It also had co-op. It was different I don't know, things to different goos, jump goo and sideways. Have you played it? I'm not sure. Did you play it, Garry?
Briefly, I've only played a little bit of it. But
it's a great game. But just guessing, I don't know if it was fun, but I could imagine that. Must have been fun to work with these guys.
Yeah, I think this is always the most interesting question that I ask anybody from the dev team, because everybody has their kind of favorite, and there's always a variety of reasons why. Yes, nobody can go back in that time and think, oh, that'd have been great to be part of, but it's just something always draws you to that one or two games that are just like, what a phenomenal idea, whatever it is. But no, it's really, really, really cool to hear all your answers to all the questions, Tees, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And it's been a long time in planning, but we finally got there. And I hope everybody in the community has enjoyed it. So thanks very much for joining us, and I'm sure one day we'll have you back on, maybe in the future. We'll see what happens.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Yeah, who knows?
Cool. Right, with that, we're going to wrap things up, and I'm going to hand you back to myself, as we always do. It's been a pleasure, and we'll speak to you very, very soon.